Electricity Minister Ramokgopa is warning today that we're in for a very bleak, dark winter. Of course, this is just confirming what we saw earlier this week from Eskom's own predictions. 52 weeks of very high risk of load shedding. Let's speak now to Heidi Giokos, our reporter on this story, joining us in studio. Hello, Heidi. So the minister basically was giving a feedback session after those visits to the various power stations. What is he saying?
Well, Sally, it doesn't look as though it's all good. He, of course, went to 18 power stations across the country, most of them being in Mpumalanga, where we have the 11 coal-fired power stations, and the most problematic being Tutuga and Kusile, which is concerning because Kusile is one of the newest power stations that we have, but because of structural defects, it's only operating at 30% capacity, so it's only giving us 30% of energy availability factor, which is possibly contributing to the constant rolling blackouts that we are seeing, because only one unit out of the 6 are working and the rest are only going to come up at the end of December. The minister making it very clear that he cannot assure South Africans that we will not go beyond stage 6, but for now he says stage 6 is worst case scenario, and reason being is that that magic number, that sweet spot that South Africa needs to get into is an additional 6,000 megawatts, and until we get there it's going to be a while, because the minister has done his assessment. He's brought solutions to the table. So that's basically dealing with the high demand and the supply. We obviously don't have the supply, but there's a very high demand. And he's proposing this to Cabinet for Cabinet to approve how they're going to do this. So before we listen to what the minister says, there's an issue, for example, at Kendal Power Station, where there is, according to the minister, 1,000 megawatts that are locked in Kendal Power Station. Why are they locked? Because the minister is saying that the power station cannot go above what it's already providing, its capacity of over 3,000 megawatts. The reason for that is because of environmental factors. So they have to consider the environment, and because government needs to comply with those rules and regulations. The minister is saying, do we protect the environment and our economy suffers and we possibly have 2 extra stages of load shedding, or how do we do this? We need to, of course, balance this, but that extra 1,000 megawatts can drop our load shedding by almost 2 stages. So this is what the minister is dealing with at this stage, and this is what he has to present to Cabinet. But it doesn't seem as though we're going to have a warm and lit a winter, because the minister is saying it doesn't look good. We need extra megawatts on the grid. Let's listen to him on that.
The 2,100 megawatts from Kusile will come in December rather, the last unit. We are entering a very difficult period of winter. I did say when I started, and I say at its worst, peak demand could be about 37,000 megawatts. But we can guarantee 27,000 megawatts if you look at the trend line. So the deficit is about 10,000 megawatts. If you continue at this kind of efficiency, so you can improve the efficiency and then also run your open cycle gas turbines and reduce the deficit to levels that are acceptable. And levels that they are acceptable, I mean, it's relative. But at least as a basic minimum, don't go beyond, worst case scenario, don't go beyond stage 6. That I can guarantee you. No, I can't say that now because units keep on tripping. I made the point when I went to Matla just the other day, in the space of 45 minutes addressing management and the workers, 1,600 megawatts just went. Close to 2 stages of load shedding. That's a problem that's confronting us.
Yeah, so absolutely forthright, which frankly I appreciate. Cannot guarantee that we won't go beyond stage 6. And in fact, if we look at the megawatts, he's saying that our peak winter demand will be around 37,000 megawatts, which is high because we're cold in winter. And they can guarantee 27,000 megawatts. I would imagine that's without any breakdowns. 10,000 megawatts, that's stage 10 load shedding, surely.
We actually asked this question and the minister said, no, Heidi, don't do that. I specifically said stage 6.
But it is the right question to ask.
Yes, it is. But I think the minister is trying to say we're trying to control the situation before it reaches stage 10. And this is why they are trying to unlock megawatts at different power stations. But Sally, if you just heard what the minister said, Kusile, the units are only going to come back on at the end of in December rather. So we are now in April. We have the next 3-4 months of winter. So it's going to be very difficult for the minister to unlock that. And if the demand is 37,000 megawatts in winter, we're short of 10,000. How are they going to unlock that 10,000? So I think we should be worried.
And that explains, and it's something that the electricity minister said to me before he was appointed, that we need to look at how much power we use. That we need to think about switching off every single light switch if we don't need it, turning off appliances that we don't need. That is all going to help. I just don't know if South Africans are in that mindset, because when the power is on, we use as much as we possibly can. But I suppose that's the only other option. And he did speak as well today about the massive impact on the economy. And you've chosen to highlight this afternoon. I'm just wondering why, because we know how terrible it is. What new information about the impact on the economy, or what struck you about what he said today?
So the minister says this is the most important thing to deal with, is to try and solve load shedding, because it's cost our economy, it's taken jobs away, it's taken livelihoods away, it's taken lives away from us. And the minister is saying that this needs to be addressed urgently, and this is why he was essentially appointed, to deal with the constant rolling blackouts, to try and fix our economy, because everything, you can't separate the issues, they work all together. On the issue of the consumption of electricity, I'm glad that you touched on that, Sally, because that is what the minister has highlighted. He said, we're not trying to limit you from using electricity, from households using what they need to use, from businesses using what they need to use, even hospitals. We all need electricity, but he says we do need to speak about the demand, because if you do not need that light, do not use that light. If you can use gas, rather use gas. Also speaking about the importance of renewables in all of this, to try and drop the demand, because the supply is not there, especially ahead of the winter. The minister highlighting the fact that there is great concern at various power stations. A lot of them are going offline, like Grootfontein, going offline very soon. And the minister saying jobs are at risk. They need to find a way to incorporate these jobs either in other power stations or in this new renewable energy path that government wants to take. But again, the main focus, how we're going to deal with the rolling blackouts to get our economy up and running again. Let's listen to the minister on that again.
There's people issues there at ESCO. People issues nothing to do with the leadership, by the way. People issues to do with, if you like, job security. I told you that Camden is closing. There are a number of stations that are closing. Grootfontein, the units are gone. And not the units are going. That's people attached to that. And there's no additional incentive for people to apply themselves. The best that you need to run these plants don't see their future at ESCO. And I'm just saying it's a conversation we must have. And as we say we discontinue these units, it's important to say to us, where is that additional generation capacity that can meet this base load megawatt per megawatt? It's one thing to have to be on an accelerated path of decarbonization. And by the way, renewables is the future. You can see the aggregate share of the energy mix is growing exponentially. But you are sitting with a crisis now that is undermining energy sovereignty of this country. People are out of jobs. The economy is on its knees. Businesses are closing. Farmers can't produce.
Yeah, that's the real grim picture that we are facing. So I guess if we can do our little bit by turning off a light we don't need, we should really do that. Thank you so much, Heidi Giokos there.